Hello guys, and happy 2025. I cannot believe it's 2025. That is crazy. Today, I'm going to be doing my December wrap up. So all the books I read in December, you know the drill. I do one of these every single month. And before we get into my favorite books, all the books I read in 2024, 2025 TBR, all that stuff, we have to talk about the books that I read at the very end of 2024. So I read the least amount of books of the entire year in December, which it's not about how many you read, and honestly, like in the grand scheme of things, this is a lot for an average reader, but I feel like I just read a lot. And also I do like book content creation, things like that. I work at a library, so like I just read a lot. But this month I read a lot less because 1, I was kind of feeling slumpy, 2, I was sick for a lot of the month, 3, I was super busy. So I'm feeling better. I got an antibiotic for my sinuses and I'm feeling a lot better, which is fantastic. Let's just get into it. I feel like this video is going to be very quick because I don't have much to talk about. The first book I read was Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, which is the second book in the Last Hours trilogy. I talked about Chain of Gold in my November wrap up, and I kind of alluded to the fact that Chain of Iron made me very mad, and I'm going to talk about it in this video because I finished it at the very beginning of December. And the thing about this book, it is very long. It is like 700 pages, and I enjoyed the first and I was excited to read the second one, and something happens in the second one that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this, like this is gonna be so good. And basically the entire book I'm waiting for something specific to happen, and I'm like, okay, once I get to the end of this book, this specific thing is going to happen. It has not happened, and the end just made me so mad. Like instead of it happening, something completely different happened that pissed me off. So basically I'm gonna have to probably read like half of the third book to get to what I want to happen. So that's lovely. The thing about this book is I love the characters, and I love like seeing the characters from the Infernal Devices because I love the Infernal Devices. Also, I didn't say this is in the Shadowhunter universe, which is this huge, very long series. Well, it's like multiple series in this entire universe, and it's about demon hunters, and it's very good. Like the Infernal Devices I loved. That's what I read first, and that's what I recommend you to read first. Some people read the Mortal Instruments first. I recommend the Infernal Devices. That's what happens first in timeline order, so you can read that. Then you read the Last Hours, and then you start the Mortal Instruments. Anyway, so it's on the Last Hours, second book, and it just made me so mad. Like when I think about this book, it makes me so mad, and I'm like, did I enjoy this book, or was I just reading it so fast to get to the end where I thought something was gonna happen and it didn't, and now I'm gonna have to read the third book to get to what I want to happen. I feel like I can kind of rant about it because it's such a popular series and so well loved that like my opinion doesn't really matter. Like no one really cares about my opinion, and most people do not share my opinion because they love the series, they love Cassandra Clare, which like I said, I love the Infernal Devices so much, and seeing the characters from that series in The Last Hours is so fun. It's about their children, so seeing that is so fun, but just that specific thing, it made me so mad. And I do want to finish the series. Like I want to read Chain of Thorns, I think that's what it's called, but I don't know when I'm gonna read it. I'm probably gonna listen to the audiobook. Honestly, the audio of the series is really good. I think it's a British narrator because it takes place in London. It's like the late 1800s, early 1900s. I really enjoyed the audiobook. I listened to, honestly, the majority of Chain of Iron on audio probably, and then I listened to some of Chain of Gold as well, and it's really good if you want to listen to audiobooks. But anyways, like I said in my December wrap up, or my November wrap up, Cassandra Clare will make you suffer, and I'm just like not ready to read the third one. Like I'm just still mad, but so many people love the series. Take my opinion with a grain of salt because you very well could love it. So many people do. So okay, I talked way too long about that. Like Bethany, shut up. Okay, next I beta read a book for one of my friends, and it was so good. I can't say much about it, but I will put her Instagram handle on the screen if you want to go follow her journey, when it comes out, all that stuff. Literally I can say very little because I beta read like very early, like her second draft or something like that, so it's gonna be a while before it comes out, but you should just follow her. Stay tuned for that because it's really good. If you like the romances that I like, you will like this book. So anyways, let's move on. I read Deep End by Allie Hazelwood, which is her new release coming out in February, and I was so excited for this book. I love Allie Hazelwood. I found that I just love her book so much. Every single book of hers I have loved. I've read all of them. Well, the last one that I had to read I also read in December, but I read all of her books except the novellas, and they're so good. Like I have such a fun time with every single book, so I was very excited for this one, especially because it is about a swimmer and a diver, which is so fun. It's a sports romance. They're in college, which I love, like all the above. Like a Allie Hazelwood book set in college with a sport. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. So I'm going to disclaimer this very early on in my review. If you do not like spice, which I assume you don't if you're watching my videos, do not read this book, honestly. Like it is very spicy. There is a author's note at the very beginning of the book describing the spice and like things like that to let you know what you're gonna get in Deep End. If you didn't like Not in Love for the spice, probably don't read this either. I think if you liked Not in Love, you are gonna like this book because I feel like it's very much reminiscent of Not in Love and the way that she wrote that book. And if you follow my channel, you know that I really enjoyed Not in Love. It was very spicy, but I knew that going into it. So I really enjoyed that book. I think it's one of my favorites by her, honestly. And I think that Deep End is now my favorite book by Ali Hazelwood. I really, really loved it. There's so much emotional depth in these books, like Not in Love and this one. Even though it's spicy, there's like so much emotional depth, and like the characters are really like struggling with stuff and going through stuff, and like it's so much more than a spice, if that makes sense. I can't really explain the plot. Basically, the female main character is a diver, the male main character is a swimmer, and the way Ali Hazelwood writes this, I'm like, is she a swimmer or a diver? I don't know. Like, how is she writing like this? Because she's so good at like just explaining the dives and like the mundane day in the life of a diver, and that is insane. Like, how she does that, I do not know. But also there's a little bit of a STEM aspect of this, because there's like a biology project in this book as well. So if you like her STEM aspects, or the STEM aspects of her books, you will enjoy this. I feel like Ali Hazelwood is just so funny and witty and smart, and this obviously is in this book as well. Like, I just love her books because she just makes me laugh, and you know it's Ali Hazelwood. She's so unique and in her lane, and I love what she's doing. It's so good. I also really related to the female main character. She's kind of a perfectionist. She overthinks. Very much relate to that. There's also like a friendship aspect in this book, which I really enjoyed. And the male main character is so down bad. I feel like Ali Hazelwood will write a man that is gone for his woman, and that is this book. It is so good. Like, I swear every single book that she writes, like the man is just absolutely obsessed with the female main character from the beginning, and I just eat that up like every single time. It's so good. The romance in this was just so good. Like, they were always there for each other, like as they were doing their different sports. It was just like so sweet. Even though the spice was crazy, the emotional depth and the romance was so good. So this was actually my favorite book of the month. It was incredible. I gave it 4.5 stars. I could definitely see myself upping it to 5 stars because it's just that good. Like, it's so good. There's also a couple cameos from one of her past books in this, which was so fun as well, and I just loved it. I'm like hoping she does more books in this like world of like a college setting, sports. It's so fun. It is spicy, but the emotional depth, the romance, the characters, I just loved every bit of it. So next, I read a couple Christmas books. First, I read My December Darling by Lauren Asher. This is a little holiday novella set in, what's it called? Lakefront Billionaire series. I literally wrote it down. You do not have to read the other 2 books to read this, and it's not necessarily like, it's connected to that in a sense, like it's in the same world, but you don't really see those characters. There's like a couple maybe that you see in this book from there, which is fun if you've read the other 2 books, but you don't have to read them. This was a really fun time. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I love that the male main character was just like obsessed with the female main character pretty much from the beginning. They're also both doctors, which I really loved. It reminded me of Jacob from Yours Truly. I kind of love a doctor. I love when they're at work together. I always say I do not like workplace romance, and I stand by that. But I don't like it when it's like a corporate setting. I love a workplace romance in like a doctor's office or like a hospital or like an emergency room or something. So I really enjoyed that aspect of this book. It's also not too Christmassy. Like, you could read it now and it would just be a fun winter read, but you still get a little glimpse of some Christmassy things that they do. Also love the found family in this book. I feel like even though it was short, it was so good. It was so well done. I feel like Lauren Asher's books are so long. They're like 500 pages. This is like a little over 200 pages, so not really a novella. Honestly, this is kind of a full-length book, but for Lauren Asher, it's definitely a novella, but I really enjoyed it. I almost like this length more than her longer books because sometimes they feel a little too long, but I still enjoyed her other 2 books that I read. There was still like emotional depth in this book, even though it was short, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. A great, wonderful time. Speaking of wonderful, I read The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. Love this book. It was so much fun. I saw everyone raving about this book. I feel like it was the book of December, and it's basically like rom-com meets Knives Out. I don't know what Knives Out is. Like, it's a movie, I think, but I haven't watched it. That's kind of like how it's described, but basically it's about this author, or these 2 authors, and they are invited to this like English house situation where they're kind of solving a mystery, and there's also a romance, and it's so much fun. Like, it was so good. It's pretty short too, like less than 300 pages. I loved the writing, and I feel like there was so much emotional depth and like really well developed characters, even in a short book. Even though it's like a mystery, there's also the romance, and like the characters feel, especially the female main character, you see the struggle she's faced and like her life, and like kind of some flashbacks to her life in the past and things like that, and how she's grown up and how it made her the person she is today and all this stuff. And the romance is so sweet. Like, the main character is like a golden retriever, so sweet. He's so into the female main character, which is so cute. I clearly just love a man gone for his woman, you know what I mean? I also felt like the mystery was so interesting and engaging. There's these little like police interviews kind of spread throughout the book, which was so good, and it made it feel so like engaging. You just want to keep reading. Very fast paced. You'll read it very quickly. It is a Christmas book, so if you don't want to read a Christmas book, maybe wait till this like Christmas in 2025. Also love like the English setting. Like, it's set in an English estate, which is super fun. It's set in the days leading up to Christmas, so it's very Christmassy holiday vibes, and it's just so good. So really enjoyed that. Next, I reread Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. I listened to the audiobook on Penguin Random House Audio. Thank you, Penguin Random House Audio, for the free audiobook. What is it called? An advanced listening copy? Thank you so much. Also, Dell Romance. Send me a finished copy of Big Borrower Steal. This book comes out Tuesday and it's in my hands. I cannot believe that. Thank you so much, Dell. I love him so much. It literally felt like a pinch me moment to get this book in the mail early. Like I got it a couple weeks ago and I cannot believe it. I got a bunch of goodies with it and now it's like literally in my hands and it's not out yet. Like I am beside myself. But anyways, listen to the audiobook of this. I'm not gonna go too in depth because I'm pretty sure my last video is my vlog reading this book. I filmed that a few months ago and I edited it and posted it. I mean, at this point I haven't, but at the point that you're watching this, I have posted the video. But I just loved it. I love the audiobook. I mean, this is so good. I gave it 5 stars the first time, but the audio is also incredible. Like, I feel like the narrators are really good. The female narrator is kind of has a country twang, especially when she's reading for the characters of like the townspeople, which is so fun. I think this is dual narrated because there's like emails in here and the emails are read by each character instead of each chapter. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know too much about audiobooks, but it's like dual narration, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, love this. Highly recommend. It's coming out next week. You should read the first 2 books. And then this. It's so good. Love the audio of it. So just a nice little reread to end the year. Love that so much. Then I read an arc of Totally and Completely Fine by Alyssa Sussman. This is the sequel to Funny You Should Ask, which I loved so much. And I've been waiting for this book literally for so long. I think it's supposed to come out in 2024, but it got pushed to 2025. And it comes out in May, maybe? Something like that. It follows the sister of the main character from Funny You Should Ask. And like I said, I love that book so much. So basically this follows his sister and she has a daughter and she lost her husband. He passed away a few years prior. I think you learned that in Funny You Should Ask. I'm pretty sure you do. Which I realized while reading this book that the timelines of this and Funny You Should Ask overlap a little bit. I love Alyssa Sussman's writing. It's so fast paced, quick, easy to read. I also love her celebrity romances. Like I feel like all of her books have been celebrity romances. And I love that. If you know me, you know I love celebrity romance. But the thing about this book, it read more women's fiction than romance. I feel like it really focuses on the female main character and her grief, which was really good. Like it was well written. It was really good to read, but I feel like I didn't really want to read that. Like it was very sad and I just wasn't really in the mood to read a sad book. And so this was a lot sadder than I was expecting. There is a romance, but it's pretty minor in this book. I loved the family dynamics and I loved how it ended, but it is like very much women's fiction. I feel like almost like it has less romance than her previous 2 books, but I still enjoyed it. And I'd probably recommend it if you liked Funny You Should Ask because it is the sequel. But I did give it like 3 stars because I didn't love it, but that's still a good rating. I still enjoyed reading it. Lastly, the last book of 2024, I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which is the last like full-length book I have to read by Ali Hazelwood. And this is a paranormal romance is what they're calling it. It's about a vampire marrying a wolf. That's pretty much what's going on. I really enjoyed this book. It was so much fun. I love Ali Hazelwood's books and I feel like this one was just the same. So much fun, fast-paced, easy to read. Actually, I say fast-paced, but it took me a week to read this. But I did not think it was the book. It was me. It was definitely a me thing. I was kind of in a slump, wasn't reading much. So it took me a minute to read, but I think I could have like read it quicker if I just actually was reading. But this was so fun. The romance is really good in this. There's also a mystery like aspect to this, which is really fun and interesting. Like that was so fun to read. I also listened to a good bit of the audiobook as well. I kind of hybrid read and I really enjoyed the audiobook. So if you're wanting to listen to audio, definitely recommend it. It was really good, really fun. I just had a really good time. I gave it 4 stars. It's not my favorite by Ali Hazelwood, but I still really enjoyed it. I just will read anything she writes, honestly, because it's just so fun. I really enjoyed the dynamics between all the characters, like the wolves. It doesn't feel like you're reading, like it's not a fantasy, like there's vampires and wolves and stuff, but like it feels like they're humans almost because you're not really seeing them as wolves. Like, I don't know. I feel like the main character, you kind of forget he's a wolf until close to the end. Also, there's like a weird spice aspect of this book, but honestly, I had heard so many people talk about it and it was not as bad as I was expecting. It was weird, but not as bad as I was expecting from how many people talk about it. But anyways, really enjoyed this, had a great time. I love Ali Hazelwood's books. If you're wanting like a fun romance with vampires and wolves, if you like Twilight, I don't know, you should read this. It was a great time. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the books I read in December. I'm very excited for 2025, all the books I'm gonna read, all the videos to come, top books of the year, all the books I read, TBR, anticipated releases, all the things. Those videos are coming. So anyways, thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.